Hello, Jimjamatic here. Welcome to my first Robot Wars Top 10. I've done a few Pokemon Top 10s as well in the past, obviously, and been planning to do some ones in the future, but also doing Robot Wars ones in the future. And today we are doing the best weapon of Series 1 to 2. I've put 1 to 2 together because there's fuck all in Series 1, so there's no point in making Series 1 top. It'll be like a top 3. If that, for Series 1, so they're kind of pointless. And obviously house robots don't count, inactive weapons don't count, so they have to actually move. I know I'm a bit too Series 7 and onwards, but what do you expect? And joining me for this little endeavour is, it's been a while since he's been on my podcasty type things. He also was on the about last month, but it is Anson9132.
Hello, children.
Yeah.
Hello, all five of you watching.
Hopefully I'll get more views of this one because it is Robot Wars related. I mean, I'm just kind of bridging the gap slightly because I won't be able to make my new episode until Wednesday because people have schedules, you know what I mean? Things happen. So I thought, to tide people over, I'll make a few top 10s. I've been planning to do them for a while but never really got around to it. We tried doing one and their audio fucked up one time, so that was fun.
It did, yes.
Hopefully
I think we should try and do that one again one day. I think we should do that again. Like,
we will.
We will one day, we will.
Oh, we definitely will, yeah. I mean, it was basically we were doing our top 5 favourite and least favourite robots of every series, and or 10. Actually, 5 for Series 1 because there wasn't many, maybe Series 10.
It was 5 for Series 1, yeah.
We could probably put 10 for like 3 onwards, maybe, or maybe 2 pushing it. But yeah, this is the top 10 best weapons of Series 1 to 2. As I said, in condensing it slightly, because again, there's only 6 episodes. Well, 6 episodes of Series 1, and again, house robots don't count, so they actually, even then in Series 1, the house robots were pretty shit. So,
Shunts causing damage. Tink.
Yeah. Oh god, Plunderbird's being mutilated. Ding. But anyway, yeah. I don't have really any honorable mentions for this one because I was scraping the bottom barrel again to 10, honestly. But yes. I have come up with 10 again. Anything maybe around 6 to 10 is kind of not that impressive. But then again, what do you expect from a top 10 of Series 1 and 2?
Also, just quickly, I have no clue of what is on this list.
Yeah,
I'm going into this one blind. That makes it more fun, I think.
Yeah, I prefer doing that way because then, you get to say, really, or why'd you think that? And then again, the top 3 or 4 might be a bit more obvious because they actually are robots that can function decently well with in terms of their weapons. So, but yeah, let's begin, obviously. And coming in at number 10 on my list is an interesting choice. It is Caliban. The full body spinner version, not the flail. The fucking flail, not that.
Yeah, that's a fair choice.
The reason why it's at number 10 is we never actually saw it move or work with the full body spinners. We saw it in the pits, but we never saw it in the arena because it went 20 centimeters, so we never really saw it do anything. But it's the potential that could have been there. It was the first full body spinner ever in Robot Wars, and of course these guys later pioneered the first vertical flywheel, and that didn't work either. But to its credit, it actually looks relatively solid. I like the fact that the disc spun, completely around like a shell around the outside. And I like the fact they actually thought about it. It looked more controlled, unlike some full body spinners that could have probably gone flying all over the place because of gyro effects. It looks kind of relatively stable. How powerful it was, I don't know. The flail is rubbish. The flail's not really something, but I'll put it on here just in case because it kind of goes with it in a way, but it's only at number 10 because I can't really put it anywhere as I didn't actually see it do anything. So
yeah, that's one of the things that annoy me about Series 2. I mean, Caliban could have done well. I mean, that thing surely could have done something to Napalm.
It's true.
And we never got to see it because Killertron gangbanged it. I mean, for fuck's sake. They got a lot further than 20 seconds, and Killertron's like, lol, nope, lols, let's go back here, lad.
Yeah, it didn't help they couldn't really drive the robot properly either, but...
Well, no, that is pretty crap, yeah. You need to drive the thing.
First move it went straight into a pyramid, well done. But, it feels weird talking about Series 1 and 2 again.
Without the shell on. I mean, with the shell on, I'd understand that because they wouldn't be able to see where the front is, but come on, man.
It's weird talking about Series 1 and 2 again because I'm on the end of Series 4 now, and it's like back to shit series again. But, oh well, we're only scraping.
5 miles an hour was quick.
Yeah.
Yes!
Luckily, every other robot on this list has at least had its weapon demonstrated, so we can actually see it do something, so fair enough. Anyway, number 9 on the list is Behemoth's little tiny scoop thing. Because while it wasn't a very good flipper, it was very good at... It was more of a controlled flipper. It lifted up a little bit and then went to the house robots and went, right, you deal with it. And it was actually very good at lifting up robots enough where it was able to control them without having to... And also it had decent pushing power despite the fact it's a tiny little robot. It was able to push Elvis and then Inquisitor really far. I managed to carry a little brick with it in the gauntlet, which made me laugh. And it, for what it's worth, the flipper was actually okay. Again, nothing compared to anything from Series 3 onwards, really. Particularly Series 8 and 9 Behemoth, no way. But, that's actually a flipper. This is just a little flipper thing.
It was a lot like Panic Attack's Forks in a way. It was just little enough to control the fight, and that's fair enough.
It's true, but unlike Panic Attack, it couldn't actually flip a robot over, so it just mainly had to rely on lifting up slightly. Unfortunately, when against Killertron, they didn't really have anything to lift at, so they ended up getting pummeled. So it couldn't work out. The tactics couldn't really work for them forever. But while they were going, the tactics definitely worked pretty well for them. And the flipper was, for what it's worth, useful, even if it wasn't the greatest thing in the world. And then number 8 is, speaking of which, Killertron, the giant pickaxe.
Oh yes, that beautiful pickaxe.
The reason why it's so low, despite the fact, actually, considering it did decent damage to both Behemoth and Aurak, actually decent damage. The one problem is it's too unreliable. The fact the robot would swing around all over the place and never actually managed to hit something unless it was controlled or fully stopped before it could move. It was very, and against Roadblock in Series 1, it had no chance because it just had no reliability whatsoever. But again, to its credit, even like in Series 4, they managed to improve, even though they didn't do any damage, they at least managed to improve the accuracy of it, even if it pretty much was outdated by that point. And yeah, Killertron, for what it's worth, the axe is fine. It's clearly just like a pickaxe they bought and stuck it onto a robot. But for Series 2, especially for Series 2, it was actually not a bad weapon, really.
I like it. I mean, I love a good pickaxe. Oh, it's just some sort of weird, like, it makes my body tingle with joy.
I don't want to know.
Sorry.
we're getting into weird territory here.
Killertron was an odd one, because it was literally just a case of they just found things and stuck it together. They stuck a pickaxe and a wheelie bin lid together, threw a couple of wheels under it, and there you go, happy days. I do like Killertron's axe. I actually probably would have put it a bit higher myself, but that's just mainly because I felt that it also assisted it with pushing at times.
Yeah.
I mean, against Technophobic, for example. But yeah, I can see why you would put it low. I mean, it did sort of flail the robot around a bit, didn't it? So
yeah. And number 7 is another axe, actually. It is Mortis, particularly the Series 1 Mortis, not the Series 2 one. Because the Series 2 one, for some reason, it would do a lot of like small hits, but at no point really do any damage. While look at Leebot after the fight. This got holes all over the walls. Oblivion, to its credit, still actually had just dents in the top of it, and Mortis' axe didn't really do anything past Oblivion, really. I mean, it got the camera on Matilda, yeah, but that's just a cheap camera they stuck on Matilda.
I think Rob Knight was a bit too trigger happy, because he was like, obviously, to make the go that quickly, you got to press on and off the button, and I think he was releasing the Switch too early, so it was tapping them instead of giving them the full force. I don't know, maybe.
I just think the axe was stronger in Series 1, maybe because the robots were shitter. I don't know, maybe that was the reason why. But also, I think we had that theory that it might be a flywheel axe, but like Wild Willy in Series 3, where it just constantly fires. That might be the reason, or as opposed to him being too trick-happy, it might be just a really powerful flywheel, maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah, the axe, for what it's worth, I mean, even though Mortis was like, seed number 2nd, greatest robot ever, its axe wasn't really that great when you watch back at it, but it was still a great axe for its time. I mean, it's just better than Killertron's to me, on the grounds that it was actually more reliable. It was much more controlled in where it hit compared to Killertron just flung all over the place. But Water is a lot more stable. That's really it. Also, they knocked the eyes off Napalm as well, which doesn't take much. So
yeah, the only reason why I would say the Series 2 version is ahead of the Series 1 version is just because it actually worked the whole way through the series.
That is true. That it was the one disadvantage about picking up Mortis, but really, when I say Mortis Series 1 version, I'm only picking it slightly more. If you think the Series 2 version's better, that's fine. Also, really, when it comes down to it, they could pretty much share the same spot anyway for different reasons. So, it's for what it's worth. I mean, the Series 1 Mortis and Series 2 Mortis aren't that far apart. Series 1 Mortis was better armoured, but Series 2 Mortis was slightly better and more reliable in some ways. Minus the treads, the tracks, they were just terrible. They broke every fight, I swear. But
a bit like Cassius's chain. Hooray!
Yay! Cassius is so reliable. But yay! And then number 6 on the list is actually a robot we mentioned before, Panic Attack, the Forks. It's actually could flip a robot over this time. Because I mean, I was considering King Buxton for this list, but the problem with King Buxton, it was more of a rammer than a lifter. The spikes didn't really lift anything at any point. They're mostly just a good, solid pushing robot. And while that's a good thing, it's not really making your weapon that great. Whilst Pancake managed to flip over Whirling Dervish pretty well. Actually damaged Sergeant Bash's disc in the same fight, which is pretty. We just see it off screen, he's just dead. Sergeant Bash in the background. I don't know what Panic did to it. I don't know. And it was just a very. It was. I mean, although I did 90% use him as a rammer, when it used as a lifter, it was actually a very good good robot of controlling, and you definitely saw that the kind of preview of what it's going to do in later series, especially in Series 3 onwards, where it'll like be able to lift a robot over completely. But I don't know. What do you think, Anderson?
Yeah, yeah, but that's fair enough. I don't think they were quite as good as they would become, obviously.
Mm.
And to be honest, when you said that, I actually saw Panic Attack as more as a rammer, because apart from Whirling Dervish, it was mainly just get under it with the forks and push. It never really lifted.
It got into Mortis in semi-finals as well.
Oh yeah, I suppose. But it's still, it's fair enough. It's a fair decision.
Yeah, I mean, as I said though, the top 5 of this list, now it's almost 6 after the top 5 of this list are legitimately good weapons. Those 6 were sort of ones that were kind of, you could switch them in some orders and not, apart from maybe Caliban, not really switch them in any orders and not really be too fussed or too worried. The top 5 are robots that actually at least showed that on at least one occasion they were actually a weapon to be fought with, even if they didn't always work the robot necessarily. The weapon was still great. But getting on to number 5, it is Recyclops, the little tongue. The first robot to flip over a house robot, and I love the ingeniousness of the flipper going in and out of the robot. Like, I just love that idea. It's just, I mean, Recyclops is already a really unique robot as it is, and having a flipper tongue is great. And it was just a really solid. I mean, for the time, it's actually quite a solid little flipper on it. I mean, just unfortunately, the robot it was on wasn't as good. I mean, mechanically wise, I mean, it has that old. The chain coming off, which seems to be a thing that cursed all of his robots, apart from his third machine. But
yeah, that one just threw itself down the pit before it could break off.
It did, but Recyclops, yeah, I mean, it's the first one to flip over a house robot. It's got to say something about how powerful it was, considering the house robots were a lot heavier than the contestants back in the day. Compared to like in the later series where like Shunt was only 5 kilograms heavier than whatever else was supposed to be. But yeah, for what it's worth, Recyclops was actually a decent flipper. For Series 1 especially, considering that there wasn't really any good flippers in Series 1. Like, at all. So
yeah, that's true.
That's why it's number 5. That's why it's number 5, though, because all the other 4 were are Series 2 robots, and obviously Recyclops is probably the best flipper of Series 1, but compared to these 4, or it's not the best flipper or even the best weapon compared to the rest of the other series. So that's the last Series 1 robot you'll see. So, yay. Oh well. Then number 4 is GBH, Bucket. A robot that consistently flipped over both its robots in its heat, which was actually, I mean, Ivanhoe was particularly impressive because it's such a massive robot and they just lifted it up really easily. And
just gently rolled it onto its side.
Yeah, it's just the thing that I love about its flipper was how clean and quick. Like, it was slow, but it was very controlled. Just flipped it over and that's it. I'm done now. And it was always surprising.
Effective.
It was surprising because when you look at GBH initially, you think it might not be that powerful. And then, while it isn't not the most powerful flipper ever, it wasn't like Recyclops, flying out of the tongue. It actually was able to roll the robot over pretty efficiently. And I think if it had to go against Matilda, it probably flipped him over if it had given it a chance. Maybe. I mean, Matilda's the right kind of shape for him to flip over. But I don't know. For what it's worth, GBH was pretty reliable as a flipper. Again, it was better than Scrapper. So I know saws. I mean, they were just off-the-shelf saws, literally just stuck onto it. There was nothing.
I do like GBH's lifter. I think what separates it apart from other lifters is that it was a much more controlled and effective one. I mean, you could have the world's greatest weapon, but if you can't control it and make it do what you want to do, then it's never going to be good. So GBH wasn't as powerful, but it didn't matter because they knew how to use it and make it work to their advantage.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it was very wide flipper as well, wasn't it? It was very wide scoops, able to lift up a lot more robots.
I wouldn't call it a flipper as much as a lifter.
Yeah, I'd say so. It'd be like Behemoth as well in some ways. Yeah, but it actually could flip a robot over, unlike Behemoth, which just has a little soda stream flick, and that was really all it could do. And then number 3 is, I know that you love it, Razer. For Series 2, okay.
Yeah, in all fairness, I have to. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yes, I mean, look, just look at the back of Inquisitor afterwards.
I know.
It just.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm always going to respect Razer, and it deserves your respect, especially Series 2 standards. I mean, everything else was a frigging kettle on wheels, and there's this thing that comes along with this Goliath claw, which can, make a car look like a sieve in 5 minutes, sort of thing. I can completely understand why this is on the list. To be honest,
It was
actually, I'm surprised. I'm surprised it's only number 3. Actually,
well, I know that we'll get to those two in a second, but Razer was the only robot in Series 1 and 2 that had that kind of hitting the disc-like moment where it came out and actually destroyed something. Obviously to a very lower scale, but Series 1 didn't really have any destruction apart from saws flying off and stuff really well.
Saturn getting sawed in half by Matilda.
And that was wood though, so it wasn't a big surprise either. But Razer actually crumpling that metal and make it getting disformed, and having it to the point where the enemy team at one point just gave up because they thought, well, we can't beat this thing. And actually, I've got to admit, despite how much I'm not a big fan of Razer, you got to admit that intro of it in Series 2 when it went right in the gauntlet, crumpled Shun and pushed it right to the end. And you can see Shun's scoop bending slightly as it got it just in the right position. I was just like, that's just taking the piss, isn't it? I loved it. It's one of my favourite gauntlet run.
If Razer didn't have such shit reliability, Series 2, 3, 4, and 5 would have all been won by it.
Yeah, I mean, Series 5 eventually got there, but...
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. It would have won like 4 series in a row.
Yeah, particularly Series 3, I think, personally. That was a series that really... especially in their heat, but that's another story for another time. And then number 2 is Griffon. The giant
Griffon.
Right, the thing about Griffon was, obviously, it did shit in its heat. I mean, it went
which is annoying.
Yeah, really annoying. I mean, it was just not built for that kind of, gauntlet run. It was too low. It got ganged up upon too quickly. It went like 3 meters, and that was it. But yeah, we saw it truly shine in the internet interaction where it flipped over Sergeant Bass just really easily, and I think I love how efficient it's a bit like GBH in some ways, how efficient the mechanism is. I mean, obviously it's a clear clone of Biohazard way of lifting it, but I don't really care. It works for Biohazard, it sort of worked for Griffon. I mean, the flipper was actually, unfortunately, it was probably more reliable in Series 2 than it was in Series 3, where it just didn't know what it was doing in Series 3.
Yeah.
But the weapon itself, to its credit, to Oversteeble's credit, it was a very well-designed weapon. It just, unfortunately, was in a really crap series, really, to make advantage of it.
It's a shame. I mean, I love a good 4-bar lifter. I honestly do. I love 4-bar lifters. Biohazard, Storm 2's one. I don't know why. I've always liked the way that it just lifts that little way, just like a cheeky flick over sort of thing.
It's really quick.
Yeah, it's really quick as well. Yeah, and again, really well controlled.
Yeah, I still think that Storm 2 could have got away with using that weapon a bit more often. Honestly, I don't know why they didn't decide not to use it, but it's
things at 23 miles per hour.
Exactly.
That's probably why.
They could ram and flip at the same time, and they could use it in conjunction. But Griffon definitely was the first Robot Wars robot to use the 4-bar flipper, and even though it didn't really see much success overall, it was reserved in Series 2 for some reason. It definitely at least showed that it had potential, and it's just a shame that Griffon really was, didn't make it in Series 4 and then just retired after that, really. But you get not every innovation is always going to be well received initially, I guess, aren't they? Just look at Caliban.
Yeah.
But number 1, it's more obvious. It's Cassius.
Was it going to be anything else?
No, I mean Cassius.
Perhaps Razer.
This was the list. Like when it comes to the worst weapons, which we'll get to. We'll record this one first. When it comes to the worst weapons, I was like, there's many contenders I can think of. Cassius was the first one that came to mind as the best weapon of Series 2 because it was the first robot to self-right. It was the first robot it flipped over multiple robots in its heat. I mean, in its battles. I mean, it flipped over Loco, flipped over Hardvark twice.
Owned the house robot.
Owned the house robots. Was really quick. Again, self-righting. Actually, what I find really impressive about the flipper is that, like robots like Chaos 2 or Eruption, Apollo, those kind of really powerful CO2 flippers, when they self-right, they flip the entire robot into the air, don't they, and then carry on. Well, they did that with a ram, not even like proper high-pressure CO2, but just a little ram thing. I could imagine Gravedigger doing that in Series 3, but Cassius, it was just so beautiful to watch, and while Razor's powerful and Griffon was innovative, Cassius is just the definition of great weapon of the earlier series, and there's a reason why it's a classic, even if it only appeared in 2 series in total. Really, Cassius.
Yeah. It was kinky.
Very kinky.
Very kinky, dude. And it's just a shame that Rex eventually retired. It really is.
He's still around though. He's still around. He still has Cassius and actually he has Cassius and Cassius 2 still, which is really cool.
Yes.
And he still shows him off and all that. And he's still kept him in good condition. So you know what? And he also got Cassius 3 as well, which is one that I think that George Francis helped build for him. That looks basically looks like Chaos 2, but
it looks like a boxed version of Chaos 2, doesn't it?
It looks more like Rusty from Series 9, actually.
Yeah, that's basically the best way to describe it. Yeah, it looks like Rusty.
But it's nice. It's nice though. He's still going around. He's still active. He's still got his robots there, and yeah, we may not ever see him in robot combat again. But for all it's worth, the guy's still around and made a legendary robot, so I can't really complain too much. And yeah, that was my top 10 best weapons of Series 1 and 2. Again, loose in the first half of the list, but in the last half of the list I'm very solid about, I think. And yay! The worst weapon list will be a lot more interesting, folks, believe me, because that's the one where things start getting interesting. I actually managed to come up with 10 right off the bat on that one. And the hardest part was actually ordering them. Not actually saying which ones, I kind of had a feeling which one was going to be the worst, but to order them was painstaking.
I'm going to do a quick guessing game. Don't tell me if I'm right or wrong here.
Not going to.
But I'm going to say this right now. First of all, any circular saw that's only a millimeter out of the body shell. Mm-hmm. And I think Talk of the Devil's weird chilling chisel shitty thing coming out of its mouth is pretty up there as well.
Okay.
Let me think. What else have we got here? Oh God, bloody hell! There was so much crap, wasn't there? These series, there was so much rubbish.
We'll get.
Dreadnought shitty lifting forks have got to be on there as well. Jesus, we'll get there eventually.
We'll get there. So that was our top 10 best weapons. I'm Jimjamatic signing off.
I'm Anderson 9132. The robot was Guru.
Yay.